Look at that. That's great. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. I think that works a lot better. It looks a little weird though, getting hit from the side there, but that's fine. What's up, everybody? Axe Wizard here. When last we left off, we just created a big ship. We added a bunch of turrets that follow the mouse, and we added a whole bunch of weapons on the front. And it works pretty well, I think. So I'm pretty happy with how this is working out. And now what I want to do is I want to add shields. So how I want it to work is like, whenever a projectile, so if I go up my objects here, object projectile, whenever it goes to deal damage, I want it to first probably check for shields first. And if it does encounter shields, I want it to create a sprite of, like, you know, the shield being hit. So first things first, let's create the sprite. So sprites placeholder, we're going to create another sprite. Where is it? Right here. Oh, my object cursor got put in placeholder for some reason. I want to put that under objects. Derp. Okay. So SPR. We're going to do shield. We're going to do placeholder because it's a placeholder. Placeholder shield hit. Okay. So what I basically want to have happen is that whenever a projectile hits a ship and it's supposed to hit the shield instead, when it destroys the bullet, I want it to create like the sprite of the shield, and I want it angled like wherever it hit to look like the ship's actually, you know, absorbing the impact with its shield. So I think 64 by 64 is probably going to be fine enough. And since the direction is going to be 0, I want like the impact to be going this way. So that's how we're going to draw it. So let's... And what we will do is, I'm just going to dye this like a wicked blue for now. And I'm going to copy, paste. And in the second frame, all I'm going to do is just add like a little different color blue. I think this is a blue. I can't quite tell. And then I'm going to copy, paste, and in this next frame, I'm going to add an even lighter blue. And then in the next frame, I'm going to copy, paste. I'm going to add the brightest blue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this outer layer here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it for this one. And then I'm going to copy, paste. And then I'm going to remove it. Copy, paste. Remove it. Copy, paste. Remove. And that should be it. So I think that this should work better. Perfect! Look at that! Nice. That looks like shield impact. I'm on board with it. I like it. So we're going to do middle right. Why did I not draw it? Oh, I did. Okay, we're good. Yeah. Middle right. Perfect. I like it. Save. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want to make a object shield. So what we're going to do is we're going to create object. I'm starting to get tired again. I really shouldn't be programming, but here we are. I hope I don't get into another pickle. Sprites shield, right? So actually I'm going to set it to be placeholder none. I just want no sprite. So create, we're going to define some variables for the shield. So what we're going to have is a shield shields equals like 100. 0. Let's do 0. Expected to be set by calling instance. I'm going to say creating instance. Set by creating. Set by the instance that created it. Okay. So shields, we're going to have that perfect. And I think that's really all we need. So, because every ship is going to be in charge of their own shield timer, basically. So, what I think is going to happen is that anytime we collide with our projectile, I'm going to duplicate event. And I'm going to say collision object shield. So we're also going to want to make sure that, like, if enemy, we intended to hit a bad guy. Yes, we are. Make sure other instance exists. You know what we're going to do instead? I'm going to delete this event. I'm going to have the shield collide with the projectile and check if it was meant for an enemy or not. And if it is, it is. So I'm going to say enemy equals false. Should be set by creating instance. So if it's a bad guy, it'll have enemy true. If it's a good guy like me, enemy false. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is for my object enemy, my test enemy ship here, I'm also going to have shields equals 100. And what we're going to do is shield variables, how much damage the shield can withstand. And I'm also going to have shield regen timer. I'm going to set this to be, I'm going to set this to be, what do you think? Should we let them regenerate like 1 every second or something? I'm just going to say 60, like roughly 60. So okay. So that should work there. Now for the step event, we also want to make sure that we create our shield. So create our shield so we can manage it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say shield equals instance create depth. I'm going to say X, Y. The object or the depth is just going to be my depth. My depth -1 because I want the shield to be on top of me. And then the object is going to be obj shield. And that should be all we need. So now we're going to say shield enemy equals true because we are a bad guy. We're a bad guy. And then, yeah. So now we have shield saved as a variable, so we can always change this, or we can always modify its like XY coordinates because we also want it to stay on top of where we are. So this will let us do that. And we can also keep track of how much it has. So shield, what's the variable I made for my shield? Shields. Okay. Shield.shields equals shields. How much? Yep, that's self-explanatory. So that should be good there. So I'm going to save this, and now what's going to happen is that, so we're ensuring that we can die. Handle shield stuff. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure that shield x equals my x, shield y equals my y, and then shield and what we're going to want to do is, since the shield's going to be taking damage, you know what, I'm just going to say we don't need this. I'm just going to set it here in the create event. Let's save it. And then so we're setting that and regen timer. So we're going to do shield. We're going to say if shield regen timer. You know, we're going to say shield max. Shield max equals 100. And I'm going to set it to be the shield max. Because what I want to do is the shield's going to be taking the damage and it's going to be tracking its health. But what I want to check is that if the regen timer is ready to go. Oh, you know what? Why am I doing this? The shield should be managing its own regen timer. The only thing that we should be managing is its is how much it can hold. So shields, yeah, cool. So we'll just say, I'll just say shields max equals 100, expected to be set by instance that created it. Okay. So we got that. We don't need this at all. All we just need to do is make sure that we're handling the shield stuff. So that's fine. Shield enemy equals true, and shield dot shield max equals, I'm just going to say 100 for now. Yeah, I'm just going to say 50 because these are little crappy ships, right? And shield enemy equals true. Okay, cool. So, and since we're creating it, we also want to set shield.shields to also equal 50. Okay. I'm getting tired and this is a bad idea for me to be coding, but I want to make this work because I'm having fun. So, and this shouldn't be too big of a deal. This shouldn't be anything complex like I was trying to tackle last time. So I think we're fine. Okay. So we're handling shield X, shield Y. That's fantastic. Now for this, I think we should also have a variable called regen. And I'm going to set this to just be 60. Let's see. Rather than repeating this a bunch, I'm just going to say expected to be all set by the instance that created it. Let's see. Use to determine if a projectile should hit us. the rate at which we regenerate shields. Cool. I'm going to add event. I'm going to add a step event. Regen timer. So what we can do here is we can say if regen is greater than 0, we'll just do regen minus minus, or regen minus equals 1. And then what we can do, oh wait, no, that's, yeah, if greater than 0, else if it's 0 above, that means it's time to regenerate. Time to regenerate. So what we will do is that we will say if, we'll just do shields plus equals 1. Okay. And then what we want to do is ensure we don't have super shields. So if shields is greater than shields max, again, we want to set that boundary. Shields equals shields max. There we go. Cool. Perfect. Now, one other thing that we want to do is that we want to add an event on our bad guy. And the other event, the event that we want to add is, where is it? Other. Oh, destroy. So this event fires whenever the instance is destroyed. So what we want to do is we want to ensure we also destroy our shield object. Okay, so this is where we put our cleanup code, and when we implement weapons on all the other enemies too, we're gonna have to make sure that we destroy all of our weapons. Same on our player ship, if we ever destroy our ship. So ensure we also destroy our shield object. Well, I guess not weapons, because we're just drawing the sprites. We're not creating a separate object for those. So since we're creating an object for our sprite, we want to make sure that we destroy it. So if we're ever messing with another object, we always want to check if instance exists. And since we saved shield as a variable, it exists still. Destroy it. So what we can do here is with shield. Actually, you know what? I think instance destroy lets us specify a ID now. Instance destroy ID. Yep, shield. There you go. Cool. So that should work. Fantastic. We're making sure that it moves with us, not that our test enemy is moving yet. So we've got that. This should be okay. Okay, I think this should work now. So now we have object shield. We're going to add a collision event with object projectile. Ensure the other object still exists if instance exists other. Because remember, the collision event gives us access to that other keyword, which allows us to reference this object projectile that we're colliding with. Determine if it should hit me or not. So if other dot enemy equals me, equals my value of enemy. Since enemy is a variable that's just set to true or false, that means if I fire a projectile that the enemy is set to true, and this shield is created for an enemy which is also true, it means that this projectile is meant to collide with this. This, let's see, projectile is meant to collide, deal the damage. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say shield minus equals. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Because if a shot is fired and it does like 5 damage, and we have our shield is at 1, I don't think we should block it. So, are we even strong enough to absorb the damage? So what we're going to do here is if other. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. So we're gonna first check it if it should even hit me. Projectile should collide. Are we even strong enough to absorb the damage? So we're gonna do if other, because I think projectile has damage. Damage is greater than our shields. No. Ignore event. So I'm just going to put return here, which is just going to end this immediately. It's just going to cause this to return and just end it there. So, no. Do nothing, ignore hit. Okay. So, since we haven't returned yet, that means that we can absorb it. Do so. So we're going to say shields minus equal other damage. Okay. We absorbed it, but we also want to now we need to show our sprite. So what we'll do here is I also need to set, I'm going to set the sprite to be the thing, but I'm going to set image speed to 0, and I'm going to set image alpha also to 0. The alpha is how transparent it is. So it's basically a decimal value. So a 0 means it's completely invisible. A 1 means that it's fully visible. So I'm going to set it to just be not shown at first. And then what's going to happen is that, let's see, sprite control. When we get hit, we show our sprite. When that animation ends, we need to hide it again. So this might not work that well either, because tell you what, here's what I will do is I'm gonna just set it to just use no sprite. I'm not going to worry about that at all. But what I am going to do is I'm going to create another object. Create object. Oh, I did this all wrong. Yeah, I'm going to delete this object. Delete. See, this is why I don't program when I'm tired. So all this stuff that we just did here, we're going to undo it because we don't need to do it. So So all object shield is going to do is it's just going to play the animation and then disappear. So all this stuff here, we need to actually move back to our test enemy here. So what we're going to do here is shields. We don't need to do any of that. Shields, I'm going to set to be 100. You know, I'm going to set this to 50 like it was. 50. We're going to change this to shield regen. Cool. Object shield. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy all this actually. Step. We don't need this. So what we'll do here is shield regen timer. Time to regenerate. Ensure we don't have super shields. Perfect. Destroy. Okay. Cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna destroy this. We're gonna not destroy, but just get rid of. We're gonna delete this event. We're gonna delete this event, and in the create event, I'm gonna get rid of all this, and we're just gonna. Basically, all this is going to do is that this is going to. There's an animation end event, and when this fires, why is this still here? Get out of here. Animation ended. We need to destroy this object. Instance destroy. So what's going to happen is that when the projectile hits the ship, and it's going to check and see if it should collide with a shield. If it does, let's see. Instance exists. Let's deal damage. Are their shields strong enough to withstand our damage? If other shields is greater than my damage, because this is from the perspective of the projectile, they are deal damage to the shield instead. And what we're going to do is we're going to do other shields minus equals damage. And what we're going to do here is create a shield object to show the impact. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say shield equals instance create x, y, make that the same depth, I guess. We're going to say other dot depth -1 and obj shield. And then we're going to set the angle of the impact. So we're going to say shield image angle equals our image angle, not alpha, angle. There we go. Destroy ourselves so we don't keep colliding. Instance destroy. Okay. Instance should be destroyed, but just in case that happens after the event is executed, we will just destroy, we will just return here to be safe. So ideally, once this hits instance destroy, it should just destroy the instance and not continue on to any other logic. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, so I'm going to just tell it to just return to finish it in case that this doesn't work. So and then so shields should not be strong enough to resist my might. Deal some damage. And then we will also call this here. So we're going to be dealing damage to shields, provided that they are strong enough to take the impact. Cool. So I think this should work. Nope. Test enemy regen. I gotcha. So test enemy. So I need to make that shield regen. So I'm just going to do Control F for this. Shield regen. Replace all. That's funny. Shield regenerate. There we go. Cool. Save. Let's try to run it now. So in theory, we should be able to shoot these guys. Okay. So the image angle is a little weird, but we can fix that. So image angle equals R image angle. Right. So I think what I'm going to do is for the sprite that I drew for that. Where is it? I got object shield. Where's my sprite shield? Sprite placeholder. Seriously, where's my placeholder shield? Shield hit. Here we go. So I'm going to edit this image, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror all frames. There we go. So that way I don't have to do like a calculation every time. I can just make it work as intended. So we're going to save this. And so now we should be able to deal some buku damage to these guys. So the shields aren't going down. They're still just... Oh, whoops. Abort. Abort. So, shield, destroy. So we're going to delete this event too, because we're not making a shield anymore. So we don't need that. And also we need to reset our shield timer. Regen equals shield regen max. Okay. Yeah, we'll just say shield regen equals shield regen max. Cool. So now the shields like shouldn't just last forever, because basically it was just constantly regenerating. There we go. So now we can actually deal damage to these guys. That does look kind of weird though. That doesn't look quite right though, does it? I mean, it looks a little better, but you can see like the shields are all sorts of different angles, and that just looks really weird. So we want to make that... Yeah, I know what to do. We want to basically make that point the direction from the ship that we're hitting to where the projectile hit. That will make it look more realistic. So what we're going to do here is we're going to point our own image angle. So we're just going to point direction. And since we did it backwards, we're going to do our own XY, and then we're going to do other.x, other.y. And I think this should work. This should look a little better. Yeah, so like if I hit it like on the side of the ship. Yeah, see, that looks interesting. That's kind of funny. That looks weird, but it's what's intended, I guess. That looks stupid. This is harder than I thought, man. You know what? I'm gonna try something different. I'm going to try to create it at, why is insert happening again? There we go. Other.x and other.y. And I want to see if this works. There we go. That looks a little better. Look at that. We're absorbing damage. Okay. Okay. For one last tweak, I think I'm going to call it good for now. I need to tweak this sprite again. Edit image. I want to image mirror all frames. And that should be good there. And what I want to do is I basically want to have that show up at the whatever I'm colliding with. And I also want it to be like dynamically scaled. So like, for example, if my ship got hit, I kind of want that to be bigger. So I'm going to say shield create, and I'm going to set this to be pointing from the other X and Y coordinates to just my Y coordinates as the projectile. And then dynamically size the shield as well. So what we're going to do, I want to do middle left. I want this to, because this is going to be rooted at the ship. So that's what I want to do there. So what we're going to do here is how do we get the size of a sprite? Game Maker Manual, size, sprite size, sprites, Does it have any? Well, let me just see what we got here. So, sprite. Okay, so we do have. Gotcha. So what we want to do, I'm gonna create a script for this. Script, create, script, scr, sprite size compare. And what this is going to do is it's going to compare S1, S2. So this is function that returns a scale that S1 should use to match S2. S1 is the sprite index of what you want to be compared. Oh, wait, no. All right, so S1 is the sprite of the shield. S1 and S2 are meant to be sprite indexes. Okay, so what we're going to do here is if that's not going to work. It should be. It's fine. Sprite height. That's a built-in variable. So that's built off the object. You know what? I'm going to not do this. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to delete this script. I'm just going to do it in the code. And then if I need to, I can export this to a script later. So, let's see. Get dimensions of sprite. So, how do I want to calculate this? I think what I might do is I might just do like an average of the height and width. And that should give you, you know, we're just going to go with the biggest dimension. So, var x1, y1, x2, y2. x1 equals other sprite width, y1 equals other sprite height, x2 equals my equals shield sprite width, and y2 equals shield sprite height. So I don't need a comma there. So basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get the biggest dimension of both sprites and kind of compare those to a ratio. So what that means is, like, if say like my ship is like 64 by 64, but my sprite shield is only like 32 by 32, it's going to look really derpy if the shield sprite just kind of goes on top of that big ship. But what we can do is that we can scale it to make sure that it encompasses the ship. So I think that should be good. So what we'll do, get dimensions of sprite, get the biggest dimensions of the two, get the biggest of x and y. So we're going to do var. I'm going to do S1 and S2 for size 1 and size 2. Boom. And I'm going to say S1 equals I'm really tired. If X1 is greater than Y1, then S1 equals X1. Okay? Else S1 equals Y1. So that's a nasty way of doing it. I'm probably going to export this later. In fact, I'm going to put a to-do on this code to clean this up. Two. Okay. Clean this crap up. Okay. So we got that, and now compare the compare as a percentage is I think what we're going to do. So basically bar size equals we're going to do scale, shield scale equals you know what, I'm gonna reverse these to make it more logical for how I'm gonna handle it. There we go. Shield scale, because this is basically like our current value, because like when you're calculating percentage, it's like whatever your current value is versus the maximum. It's current divided by the maximum times 100, and that gives you your percentage. And I think we can actually no, wait. So let's say, for example, our shield size is 32. Okay, we divide that by 64, which is in theory our ship size. That equals 0.5. So what we want to do is that we want to get the value. So we're going to times it by 100, which should give us 50%. But that's not going to work really well. Calculate image scale. Yeah, a lot of this stuff is not good, so not what I'm looking for. So what if we did it the other way, right? So what if, like, we did 64, so 64 divided by 32, that should give us 2. So that's what we want. So I had it right the first time. So let me just go back and fix this. There we go. So shield scale equals S1 divided by S2. And we're going to do times 100. And I think that should give us... Wait, no, we don't want to do the 100. As a ratio. So it's like a 2 to 1. So save. Shield scale, and then what we're going to do is we're going to set our shield.image x scale equals shield scale, and shield.image y scale equals shield scale. There. So this should make sure that our shield nice. Look at that. That's great. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. I think that works a lot better. That looks a little weird though, getting hit from the side there, but that's fine. You know, for the most part, it works. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we got shields working. I'm gonna do that again though, because that was kind of fun. All right, so we're testing. Look at that. So when we get like a hit, like on let me get a little closer here. So when we get a hit on like a corner, let's do right there. Like it looks a little weird, right? Because the bullet's already passed, but it gives visual feedback that shields absorbed it, which is what I was going for. So I think it's like that definitely looked weird, right? So yeah. Come on, baby, get over there. Yeah, see, there was a collision behind the ship. That was funny. But yeah, I mean it works, I think. I'm pretty happy with it. I just like this big old ship that we got now. Look at this bad boy. This thing's awesome. Slow it down, Nessie. Cool. So then, you know, we can work on our secondary attacks and stuff later, but I'm pretty happy with this. I need to get to bed so I can be useful at work tomorrow. So I hope I didn't leave too much to do. In fact, what I might do is I might end up actually creating that script real quick. Create script. There it is. SCR set image scale. So what is this? This is going to be. This is meant to be called from OBJ projectile. Right, and so all we're going to be doing here is I'm just going to copy this stuff here. In fact, I might just change this to just create shield. So I'm going to change the name of this script here. Rename SCR create shield impact. And I'm just going to replace this with SCR create shield impact. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to rename this create shields impact. And we're just going to copy and paste all this code. I'm going to de-indent it. Okay. Set the image scale of the shield. Cool. It's not referenced anywhere. What did I do? Create shields impact. Save. There we go. So now we can never look at that code again. We just run it again just to make sure I didn't break anything. We're still good to go. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Cool. I did the thing. Create the shield impact to give visual feedback to player of the hit. Cool. We did it, and I kept my messy code confined to a script, so that's pretty handy. I think I need to make sure before I forget that we also copy shields over to our player ship. I also need like HP and stuff as well, I think. Oh, I also have debug code here as well. I need to remove that. Boom, look at that. Okay, so let's also set health and shields. So we're just going to do HP equals, I'm going to say 100. HP max equals HP. Cool. I'll put 100 there as well. It's fine. HP max, we're not using that yet. We will use that. Actually, I'll program that when we need it. I was thinking like health bars and stuff, but we're not even close to doing that yet, so forget it. So we got HP and we got shields. So what we want to do is we also want to copy step. Okay. And if we go back to our ship here, towards the very bottom, ensure we can die, and that our shield regen stuff goes on. Okay. Cool, so now we got that set, so when I program enemies to shoot back at me, we should be good to go. Anyway, thank you for watching. I am sorry that this was really scattered and I changed my mind like 7 times, but again, this is not a scripted game. I have a rough idea of what I want to do and I just figure it out on the fly, and sometimes the way I go about it's not the best way, but this is real game development. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and see you in the next video.